Hello, everyone. Let's talk about diversity of simple organisms. All right, as usually, we've got the module overview. We're going to talk about simple organisms. We're going to start with prokaryotes, make our way to eukaryotes, and then we get to the bigger animals with the next one. This one will take you all the way through fungi. As usually, you've got the same assignments as normal. The lab handout, there's a lecture, there's a quiz, there's a bunch of demo things, and let's go look at those. So, lab handout is usually right in here. If you click on it, it'll get you to the lab handouts, to the PowerPoints, and the question sets. I'm going to open the lab handout real quick just so we can take a look at it. So, we're going to talk about bacteria. If we were in class, you could be able to see bacteria under a microscope, but we're going to have to do with just pictures, which may actually be an advantage because some people struggle with a microscope. So we're going to talk about bacteria. We're going to talk about shapes of bacteria because bacteria are really, really small. And so the only thing you can really make out, even with the highest magnification under the microscope, is just the shape. The shape tells you something, like the name tells you something about the shape. So you can, if I tell you something is a staphylococcus, you know that it's clusters and it's round. So kind of look at that. If we were in class, we'd do a methylene blue stain again because bacteria are really, really small. We oftentimes stain them. And if you ever have the need to look for a bacterium under a microscope, the way to do it is to go try to go for the color, and then go for the edge of the color. So first focus on the color, and then go towards the edge of the color because if it's too dark, you can't see anything, and you can't really make out the individual. So at the edge, right where you have the individual organisms, you can see this better. We got to talk about the gram stain. There's a Labster activity having to do with the gram stain. And then we're going to look at different types of bacteria. There's oscillatoria, cyanobacteria, and then we're going to get to eukarya. I'm going to talk about algae, and then fungi. There are a couple of things. Yeah, so this is just the lab handout. Let me go back real quick to the question set, because in the question set, I want to just kind of go. So the question set, you would normally be sketching these things. Again, because we're online, you're just going to have to recognize pictures. And the question set is going to be, you'll see it in the you'll see the pictures in the question set. So start with this. There's value in drawing these things for your own purposes. So you may want to go ahead and do that anyway, even though you don't actually need it for class. So you're not turning this in. This is just for your own self. All right, PowerPoint is here. This one's kind of cute. It's optional, but it's this guy actually just collected some water in a pond and made a little windowsill pond. And the reason why I'm sharing it with you is because I think 3 out of the 4 organisms that we use are actually in his little pond. He stops the experiment in week 3 because there was a little stowaway that he didn't notice before. And the little stowaway was a higher level organism, and so he let everybody go after about 3 weeks. Demonstrations. There are lots of demonstrations this time because we don't really have the ability to do any of these things. So there is the lab demonstration that I'm doing, and then there's I actually did a methylene blue stain with a in hopes to help you um, kind of figure out how to do this microscope business. So, but if that one doesn't work for you, if you click on the Google site, the Google site has lots of resources for you this time. So this time the Google site is probably more important than it was in the past. So the Google site shows you a simple stain. It shows you bacterial shapes. It shows you how to use a microscope. Um, Shows you pictures of the bacterial shapes, examples of the different things that you would be seeing in the lab. So use this to answer the questions um, that you have. There's optional resources if you like, to look at taxonomy, those kinds of things. And last but not least, this one is just for fun. This dude, when he was making that video, he was smoking something. I'm not sure exactly what he was smoking, but he was having a really good time. So this one's just really ridiculous. And I found it one night, and it would be a crime not to actually share it with you. Um, Back to here. So those are the resources. And then you're going to the assignments. Lab hands-out and question sets can be found here. There is a lecture quiz. So go to the next thing. There's a lecture quiz. You can view the assessment. That just shows you it's the same. It's questions about the lecture material. Close this. Can I go to the next one? To do assignments. Hang on, let me see. Handout question set. And here's the question set that I wanted to show you real quick. So the question set, as you see, it just gives you different questions. And apparently these are out of order. I will have to fix them because these are not in the same order as I'm going to try to fix it, but if I can't, I'm hoping that you guys can deal with it. It's the same questions as the lab, as the question set. They may not be entirely in the same order. So keep that in mind. And then we've got the Labster assignments, and you already know how to do those. And that's it for this unit.